Hello and welcome to episode 29 of the Mo Money Podcast. I'm your host, Jessica Morehouse, and today's episode is a very special episode because I interview my grandpa. He is my grandpa. He's my mom's dad. He's French-Canadian. He's originally from Quebec. He's been living in BC for decades. And he has an incredible story. And honestly, I don't think I knew the depth of kind of what he went through in his life to get to where he is until this podcast. So I'm really excited to share his story with you. It honestly is an incredible story of literally coming from nothing to being able to, move from Quebec to British Columbia and start a new life to support his family. So I'm very excited to share today's episode with you all today. Well, thank you, Grandpa, for joining me on the program today. I appreciate you talking to me about your life story.
It's a pleasure to answer whatever question you may have in mind regarding my past life or any other things.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. I want to know, let's dive into where you came from. Where are you from, and what was your childhood like?
I was born in a rural area called a little parish called Saint-Sylvain, Comté Nicolette, province of Quebec.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of a small. I won't go into that detail.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I was. That's where I was born.
And how many siblings did you have? You came from a big family.
Yeah, well, we in my family there was 9 children.
Wow, because we spoke earlier before we started recording about your dad being a butcher, and he was, providing for the family, right?
You're interested in my
yes, I like the
butcher.
business.
Okay, ask me the question.
Yeah. Okay. So
as specific as possible.
Okay. So your father was a butcher, and we kind of talked earlier about how your mom kind of had the business savvy.
About that at the beginning.
Sure.
The boy, he was an orphan at 5 years old.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. He was adopted by an uncle who had no children.
Mm.
And he stayed there until he turned 11 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And then for a reason unknown, he left them and started working on his own, offering himself as a worker.
Right.
And then he worked at a different job until he got married.
Mm.
And I think before he got married, his uncle his name was Cyril. He was an uncle, and he showed him how to butcher animals.
Is that right?
And that's why he started his trade as a butcher.
Mm.
And for 14, and when he started, he got married, and all he had was $25 in his pocket.
Wow.
And a horse and a buggy.
Wow.
And that was in September. And at Christmas, he still had his buggy and his horse and $400 in his pocket.
Okay.
So he made well.
Yeah, he did. Wow.
Yeah. And for 14 years, he sold meat from house to house.
Really?
Yeah.
So
he was butchered the animal.
And then he went house to house and sold it himself?
Yeah. Pardon?
He sold it himself? He went door to door and sold
That's
it?
right. Oh yeah, he was the salesman himself. He sold his own meat.
Is that right?
Butchered the meat, and then he would, with his horse and buggy or trailer or whatever he had, then he would go house to house, and he said piece of meat that he had pre-cut already, or sometimes he cut them in front of them, what they wanted, how much they wanted, and that's how they.
And so, but you were never interested in following in his footsteps and becoming a butcher yourself?
No, I wasn't called to that. My father always called me. Oh, he says, well, this one, he says, you're going to be a lawyer.
Oh.
Yeah, but...
No.
a lawyer, no education, though.
Yeah.
But I don't think I would have been a good lawyer because I'm too sensitive. You know, I like to take I take the other guy's case under my skin, and that's not.
So you didn't want to become a lawyer.
Well,
did you choose?
I never said yes or no.
Oh, it just wasn't an option?
Mention by my dad to other people. Who's going to do with this little no good for nothing?
Oh.
Anyway.
Oh.
No, he didn't say that.
No.
Didn't say that, but I mean, they always called me Petit Jacques because I was small.
You are small. But so am I. We're all small.
Well, a woman is considered to be small most of the time. Not a man. A man is, you know, in my days, when I was young, a man was not 5'4". A man was supposed to be 5'10", 5'11", you know.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
But so your career was in the military. Okay. So how did you fall into that?
See, that's another story.
Yeah.
Now, since I was a very serious-minded lad, I was thinking about my future. And my dad, getting older and older, he left the big butcher business.
Yeah.
And I didn't see any future and me at home. The house that we were living in didn't belong to us.
Oh, no.
If the house burned down, we could not rebuild it. And we were paying $5 a year for the ground on where the house was built. It belonged to the neighbor.
Really?
So that's how poor we were.
Wow.
The reason why my dad could not own the house because of his bankruptcy that happened in 1930 or 1931.
Bankruptcy.
So he could not hold a house.
Okay.
So the reason we were in that house, so we finally bought the house. The man sold the house to us, but he had to put it under the name of my sister Inedin, who was the oldest living, she wasn't actually living at home, but she was working outside, but she was the oldest, and she could be the owner of the house.
Okay.
And after that, when she got married, then it shifted to, Tatan Gilbert was in Quebec, she was away, it shifted to my brother Roger. Got to him. But my brother Roger, he became the owner of the house.
Yeah.
And then in I joined, and then, during that time, then I went to, I wrote to my sister Gilbert that I hadn't seen for 2 years. She would pay an £8 pension, help a board for me to go to be with the brothers, Christian brothers.
Like to become a monk? Or no?
No, brother. It was a teaching institute.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So she answered me back. She said, sure, go ahead. So I wrote the brothers. I said, okay, I'm accepting. Now, I was 14 years old. I had failed my grade 7 twice.
Oh.
And then I was not discouraged, but I said, well, if I go to the brothers, I can make a fresh start. Or something.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't use those words at the time, but I'm saying that today. I can make a fresh start. So the brother accepted me, and on 14 September 1944, they came and picked me up at home and had to give me a list what I should have, clothing, socks and everything. And I went there. So that was 2 weeks into the school year. So I went there and I worked hard and I passed my grade 7, which was a government test.
Yeah.
With 6 or 7%. I got it. So I was with the brothers for 3.5 years.
Yeah.
3 years as a student, and 8 months as a novice.
Yeah.
And then I was let go.
Oh.
Because they figured that I was not the type to be there. Okay. So they said, the brother director says, well, you go and help your parents. What am I doing helping my parents. They got to help me because I'm out of here. They're poor, and then I'll be more or less half a homeless by leaving this place.
Yeah.
But all this got into my head.
Yeah.
When he told me that, I looked at the window. It was dark at night, and he noticed. He said, "You are scared." Of course, I was scared. Right away, I was scared. He said, "I'm leaving here. I am in the streets."
Yeah.
So he said, "You're going to leave the 5th of so you're going to leave the 5th of April, 1948. So it was 1948 when I left there. He took me to the train, and I took the train, and I went home. I arrived home, and I was and my father, I always remember, he came to the bus, and he greeted me. And I went to see my mom, who was somewhere in the stable there, or the slaughterhouse, and greeted me. I was happy. And during the summer, I worked at little jobs. And so I was looking for work. And of course, in those days, a lot of people around you, they're jealous of you. They don't want you to succeed.
Oh.
Even if they're related to you. So I wanted to go work in the wood.
Right.
So the help I was looking for, they just run away from me. So I went on my own anyway. And I got a little job. The guy got me a job, the jobber it was in KC and La Haute Mauricie, pass, about 300 miles from Trois-Rivières. And I worked there for about 3 weeks. I worked there about 3 weeks, and I left because it was too hard for me.
Yeah.
They used to call it that the type of a job was showboy outside. I would have liked to be showboy inside. But when the door closes on you, there is not a one that opens.
Yeah.
So I left there. So I had enough money to take the train coming back. And instead of going home, I said, I'm not going home. So I went to Nicolette, where my aunt was a religious. She was a retired teacher with the Sister of the Assumption. And I went to see her, and I said, look, my Tante searched in a store. There is a story behind that, I'll tell you later. I said, I'm looking for a job. I said, would you pray for me? Prayer are powerful. So she says, yeah. So I stopped looking around. It took the same day. I went actually to two establishments. One, it was a furniture manufacturer, and the other one was where they were buying wool from the farmers, and they had a shop to turn that wool into ready for knitting. Yeah. For knitting business. So I worked there for about 3 months, and I said, I was going. It was just before Christmas. I went home, and at the beginning of December, and I said, well, I'm not going to stay here very long. So I had an uncle in Drummondville, Quebec. So I went there. It was January. So my aunt took me. She charged me $10 for about a week that I stayed there. And I found a job, and my uncle found me a job in a hardware store. I worked there for about 3 months at $14 a week. I was paying $10.50 for food, and $3 for a room, which was another place. So all I had left was 50 cents.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's not a lot.
So and then I went to see the boss, and then the boss says, you're fired. We don't keep you. Oh, okay. So I went back to my uncle, and I was eating at his daughter's restaurant. I went. I said, no, I don't have any job. I said, yeah. Oh, he said, I got one for you. He said, I said, there's an electrician who is looking for a clerk. There's a girl there, and he wants to replace her. Oh, okay. So I went. See, he made an appointment. I went to see this electrician contractor, and he did not understood. He did not understand, pardon me, what I was talking about, and I didn't want to be too clear because the woman I was going to replace was right there.
Oh yeah.
So it was not a closed door meeting.
Yeah.
So I went back to my uncle. I said, I don't think he understood what I was trying to say, because I was not clear enough because that young lady there. Oh, he said, I'll talk to him. So he shut the door that started closing there. The Lord had a plan for me.
Mm-hmm.
And the following week, I was working in the store because I would be staying there until the 31st, the end of March. The guy, a friend of mine, he was washing dishes in the restaurant where I ate.
Mm-hmm.
He came to the store, puffing. He said, Jacques. I said, what? He said, your uncle had just died.
Oh, no.
Oh. I said, my uncle died, and I lost my job.
Oh, no.
See, the one who was going to give me a job died.
Yeah.
You see? And he died on, I think, the 30th or the 31st of March, 1949.
Mm-hmm.
I was still 18 years of age then. And okay, well, I said, I'm going to go home.
Mm-hmm.
As I didn't know, I couldn't figure all the other places I could, who could help me. So I went home. So it was April, May. Of course, I was not doing nothing. And of course, this is kind of, in the spring, it's kind of dull time there.
Mm-hmm.
The farmers are not starting, and everything is closed. So while I was sitting there, I started to look at the newspaper. And we didn't have any newspapers. I was going to the neighbor. They had a newspaper. And I was looking for jobs. Normally, in the ad there was hundreds of jobs, in stores, anything like that, in Montreal. So while I was looking at that, I saw a little ad that they were asking, that was placed by the Army, that they were asking for young people to join the forces.
Mm-hmm.
And I always liked to wear a uniform. Because once I was in college, we belonged to the cadets, and once a year we were allowed to wear a little uniform.
Mm-hmm.
And I had great respect for the soldiers that had fought for Canada during the last World War, Second World War.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So I cut this little piece, that ad, off the paper, put that in an envelope with a stamp, and I put my address. I sent that to the Depot d'Effectif number 3 in Quebec City. Oh, a week later, I got an answer. He said, sure enough, he said, you come over. He said, we included a train ticket for you to come.
Wow.
So that was nice. Okay. So I went there, and I decided, right, I was there in Quebec City. I said, I'm not going to join the Army. No. So I went back home, and about a week later, I received another letter from the Army. How come you didn't show up?
Yeah.
And I didn't have any money to go back there.
Yeah.
So my brother told me, he says, little cousin Paul, he says, once a week he goes to Quebec City bringing cattle for the slaughterhouse in Quebec City. He said he'll take you.
Mm-hmm.
You just jump with him, he'll take you. So I met Paul. He said, sure. He said, come with me. So I got him, and about just before we got in the close, it was the Depot d'Effectif, close to the Plaine d'Abraham. So I got off the truck. Thank you. Goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I ever see him after that.
Really?
I saw him maybe when my mom died. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
so I got back. So I went to the Port Effective there.
Yeah.
I see, here you are finally.
Yeah.
So the sergeant there, he was limping a little bit on one leg. And
Oh,
I
gosh.
said, yeah. Well, he said, sit down. He says, I have a little test for you. So he gave me the paper, passed the test, and he came back. He says, you okay? We'll keep you.
Oh.
He says, you go downstairs. He says, we're going to give you bedding and everything that you sleep with us tonight. Oh, I said, well, I have a place to sleep tonight.
Yeah, that's good.
So I sleep there, and I slept there in the morning, and then from then on, until he said, we'll call you when you need and be around. So when I knew that I had a free time, then I would go and walk, sleep in Abraham. I never had such a beautiful time there. And anyway, I think I was at the Port Effective number 3 for 3 weeks. And then, I went to the hospital for a medical check.
Mm.
And then says, they got me on the balance. They got me on the scale. 108 pounds. Oh, this guy is light. He says, well, we can't take a guy that light in the army. But there was a guy there. He said, never mind that. He says, well, he's young. He's going to grow up.
Exactly.
No problem. We keep him. So anyway, I passed that.
Yay.
But when it came to give me the needle, well, I faint.
Oh, no.
A guy who was doing the army is scared of a needle. But anyway, so after that, I heard from the other. So I said to the guys, I don't know if I'm going to stay. Jacques, you stay with us. He said, don't go away. Everything will be fine. No problem.
Mm-hmm.
So I was not serious when I said that. I said to myself, I'll stay. The guy ended up to be in my squad in the center. Anyway, so guys were talking. He said after you sign, he says, you're allowed to have a week to go home and see your parents and settle your things that you have to settle at home. So I asked for a week leave.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So she said, no. He said, you go to the paymaster. And then I went to the paymaster and he gave me $30.
Oh.
Oh, I was rich. $30 doing nothing. So I went, I took the train, went home for a week, and I came back.
Mm-hmm.
I came back for the date that you want me to be back. And then they gave me another ticket and meal ticket to go to Saint-Jean, Quebec for my basic training.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. So I had just turned 19 years of age when I got to the base camp.
Mm-hmm.
To the base to
Mm-hmm.
Saint-Jean, which is the base there. And the major said, he said, we should give you a day off. He said, you celebrate your birthday. I didn't say, so that's okay, never mind. I'll stay here. Anyway, yeah. So I waited there for about 3 weeks because they needed enough guys to start a new squad, a new platoon.
Yes.
So I did my basic training for... by the way, when I was in Quebec, see, God, it was on my side.
Mm-hmm.
Was before I signed in Quebec, because I had to sign.
Yeah.
I signed on the 28th of June, 1949. So there was a sergeant I had never seen. He had a rough face. Never seen, never talked to. He brought my paper to the captain, and the captain says, well, his test on the typewriter is kind of weak, he says. Oh, yeah, but he says they're going to give him courses and the forces. He says, that's no problem. He said, sir, sign here. So he helped me.
Yeah.
You see? And so at the end of my basic training, my corporal told me that he also talked on my behalf to keep me going. So on the 20th of October, 1949, my basic training was completed, 4 months. And I was sent to Long Point, the school of the Royal Canadian Ordnance Corps, and then also to attend a course. So in the meantime, they make me work on moving tables and beddings from one hut to the other and things like that. And at other times, then you could go in your room and do whatever you want, or lay down. So that lasts for and then they put me on the storeman course. All the courses were English. So I got on that course for about a week, and then I said, well, I don't understand what this guy is talking about in the front there, the instructor. I said, it's all English. And I can't understand English. I couldn't understand it.
Mm-hmm.
But I could hear a few words, but I couldn't match everything together. So I told the administration, I said, well, I can't go on. I said, my English is not good enough. Okay. So they took me off. And then about a month later, there was a captain. He came to me, and in front of a major. He was English, but the captain was bilingual. He said, we have an offer for you. He says, we have a course. We want to send you to Baysborden, Ontario, for an administration course of 6 weeks. I said, I take it.
Mm-hmm.
So I went there. And at the end of the course, of course, my English was poor again.
Mm.
And I kind of failed the course. And two other guys or three other guys failed also the course, for different reasons. About me, because my English was too poor. But didn't say that because my English were too poor. It's just because myself, I knew that was the reason. But the captain said, Captain Haino, and I still remember his name, very nice man, fully bilingual. You couldn't say if he was speaking French or English. He was so good at both. And he said, we're going to give you 3 days to study, and then we're going to give you a test. If you pass the test, you pass the course.
Mm-hmm.
And after 3 days of study, I did my best, and I passed the course.
Good for you.
And I was so happy, I just stand up in front of him. I was so happy, because that gave me grade 1.
Yeah.
And also a $6 a month increase.
Oh, look at you. That's
so, anyway, I felt I belong. You see, I was not because if you have no trade in the forces, you're kind of labor. You're a labor.
Yeah.
Okay.
What did you do in the forces actually, and how long were you in the military for?
I was in the military for 23 years. I joined the 28th of June, 1949, and I left the forces on the 13th of January, 1973. That would include my terminal leave.
Okay.
That was my last day in the forces.
Mm-hmm.
13th of January, 1973.
Is that right? And so you left the forces, and is that when you decided to move from Quebec to British Columbia?
Well, it started that way. In 1971, I received a card from Claude saying that he was getting married.
And Claude was your cousin?
Claude is my nephew.
Nephew, okay.
Yeah, he's a son of Tata Inedzen. Inedzen. He's my nephew. And he sent me a card if I want to go to his wedding. And I talked to Grandma Colomb. And I said, I'm going. Mm-hmm. I said, not only me, but I said, I'll bring his dad and his mom also along with me. So in the week following that I received the card, I phoned my sister. I said, look, I'm going to Claude's wedding. If you want to come, I'll be your porte-parole because, it's all English here. They don't know how to speak English. Anyway,
right.
She said, okay, we'll think about it. And I think they had come to visit us the weekend, and then during the week, I phoned her. She said, yeah. I said, okay, I'll get a ticket, And so on a Labor Day, Friday night of the Labor Day, 1971, we took the aircraft in Quebec City, and then we changed aircraft in Montreal, and we came here. We arrived here on a Saturday on Saturday noon. We were picked up and by Claude and Geraldine, his wife to be, and and Claude didn't know. I think his future wife knew, but Clyde didn't know.
Oh,
so we surprised him.
Oh, that's nice.
And he was so happy, this. Yeah. Anyway, so we stayed here 3 days, and we left on in the morning or in the morning of the following Monday, which was Labor Day, and we came back to Quebec City. I left them in I left them in Montreal. Somebody will pick them up in Montreal, and then I carry on by myself to Quebec City. By myself, Quebec City. And I arrived at night. It was about Quebec City 8 o'clock. The reason it was a little bit late because one of the pilots got sick in the middle of the flight from Montreal to Quebec City, and they had to come back and have somebody else. And so it was retarded by about an hour or so. Anyway, so we got back to Quebec City. We got back on Labor Day. So the following week, Colombe, I said, how do you like it over there? And we talk about it. I said, I like it. The weather was nice. And, well, it was like this morning.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. So I said, would you like to move there? She was not happy where we were in Val Saint Michel. She was not happy around there. We had to make a move.
Yeah.
Whether I stay in the army or we had to move out, find another place to live. Whether in the same place or... Yeah. So, I said, if you want to go, I said, I'll leave the forces. I said, I got to tell them in February, that would be on the 8th of February, when we got to that date, I told them that I was leaving the forces and I'm moving away. So, where do you want to move? Chilliwack, British Columbia. Yeah, I'm going to Chilliwack, British Columbia.
Yeah.
Weather is nice there. No shoveling of snow. And all that goes with it. And my family was young. Uncle Gilles was 13. Eddie was 8.5.
Oh, wow.
So I had 4 young children. Carmen was 11 years old. Martin was 8, I guess. Yeah. So 4. So sure enough, when it came June, so I went to the station in Quebec City. I said, I want to ship my car by train. Well, he said, you got to go to Montreal. So I got at a proper time to give me the paper. So I went to Montreal to the yard, and they put my car on the boxcar, and he says it will be in Vancouver about that time. I said okay. So and then when it came time for us to move, they gave us a ticket. We took a taxi from Quebec, from Val Saint Michel, right to Quebec City, and then we slept in a hotel. And in the morning, we took another taxi. We went to the railroad station, and we changed train in Montreal. And for 3 days, we crossed.
I didn't know you took the train to move here. You trained all the way across Canada?
Yeah.
And it took 3 days?
From Montreal to Chilliwack is 2,500 miles.
Wow.
So take at that time.
Yeah.
Maybe it's faster today, but at that time it took 3 days in train.
Wow.
We took the train in the afternoon, and we arrived on Saturday noon at about 11:30. And then Claude with his wife and a friend of Geraldine, they came to meet us. And then the army was paying me 10 days in a motel.
Mm-hmm.
So while I was in the motel, then I started to look for houses.
Mm-hmm.
We left Quebec City the 19th of July,
Yeah.
and we arrived here on the 22nd of July.
Mm-hmm.
And then we looked for houses. We stayed at Cloud Place on the Lewis Avenue here for about 3 days because we had to get out of after 10 days. The army was not. I don't want to pay myself. Claude said, "Come stay home." And in the meantime, I was looking for a house. So we found a house. We found this house. And the 8th of August, we move in.
Mm-hmm.
In the house. And the whole family, Mom was happy. So, we have a home, quiet area and things like that. And then we start living.
Yeah. And I'm just curious, how much did you pay for this house when you bought it?
$20,500.
Oh, that's so cheap, Grandpa.
We paid the $13,000 cash.
Really? You had that much saved up?
Eh?
You had that much saved up?
Wow. I've been saving since the first year I was in the army.
Yeah, you're very frugal, just like me.
Oh, yeah. So, and I took a mortgage for $7,500.
Oh, my gosh.
My mortgage was $83 a month.
Oh, my gosh.
And then I was paid full salary until the 13th January 1973.
Yeah.
From then on, I started getting my pension. It was $290 a month.
Mm-hmm.
So that $90 a month pay for the mortgage.
Yeah.
So I had $200 to pay for different little things and a little bit of food. Mm-hmm. But I didn't stay sitting until the sun is going to come out.
Yeah.
So I look around. So I wanted to go to school.
Yeah.
So I went to the unemployment insurance office.
Yeah.
And said, I'd like to go to school. I said, yeah, okay. So he said, we have a 4-month course that gets you up to grade 10.
Oh.
Because I was grade 9.
That's
10.
right.
So I took, before that, I got a job at the base as a laborer. I was being paid $2.50 or $3.50 an hour. So I had to quit that in order to go to school for 4 months. Now, the school were paying me $88 a week for a living.
Yeah.
So with a little bit of my pension, $8 a week, I was okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it lasts 4 months, and then I applied to sell insurance. I sold insurance for 2 years.
And I can't believe I never knew that you sold insurance. I never knew that.
No. Okay. I sold insurance for 2 years.
Yeah.
Did
you like it?
Oh yeah, but the thing that I was always away from home.
Yeah.
And the children were small, so I decided to look for another job. Mm-hmm. In the meantime, I applied at the base, and then
the army base,
and at the army base, but my name had been put at the bottom of the list.
Oh.
So I had to wait again.
Oh.
I couldn't drop back to where I was.
Yeah.
So finally, after a few. I sold. Oh, before I sell insurance, I went. I worked for the provincial government.
Oh, really?
At a research station in Abbotsford, which doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
It's closed. And while over there, I worked for about 4 months, I guess. Mm-hmm. And the job I had, the agricultural one, I had to look after the chickens and things like that. And then every day we had to clear the stall where the little chicks were, and there was a lot of dust.
Yeah.
I said, I'm not going to stay here, breathe that dust. After 10 years, I won't be able to breathe.
Exactly.
So I said, I'm going to look for another job. That's where I started to look for life insurance.
Yeah.
I was accepted.
Yeah.
I worked for Sun Life.
Yeah.
For about 6 months. So I left them. I took Paul Revere, that's an American company, and all the life insurance. I worked them. But in the meantime, I said, I'm not going to do all that because it takes too long.
Yeah.
So I applied at the base and asked, and Mom was here. I said, if you watch for a telephone, if you receive a phone call, they want me at the base, I'm going to go.
Yeah.
See? So I did that.
Yeah.
So it was 19. We were in 1976.
Mm-hmm.
In 1976, it was in the spring, in May, I guess. I worked for a few months, but being a casual labor, it was just some kind of little contract.
Right.
When you finish, you're gone.
Mm-hmm.
And then in October, he said, you're going to work until the end of September. And all of a sudden, they said, we have no more money. We have to let you go. And at that particular time, I guess it was in August or September, I was coughing. So I went to see the doctor. Also, the guy said, you have a little touch pneumonia.
Oh, no.
So he gave me pills.
Yeah.
And I took those pills for 10 days. My coughing left
Oh,
and my pneumonia gone.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so they called me back because I have my other name inscribed somewhere else to at the base itself. Now I was with the engineers. So I started in October there. And up to, and then we passed an examination, I think. Or I had already passed the examination, the interview. And then a guy quit for some reason, permanent guy. So there was an opening for me.
Oh, nice.
So there was an opening in October because on the interview I arrived second out of 14 or something. So the first one got his first job, and I got a second job when the opening came in the 6th of January. And I worked there for 17 years.
17 years.
17 years I worked there.
Wow.
So with the salary I had,
Yeah.
and my army pension,
Yeah.
then I was able to live comfortably.
Yeah. So how long did it take you to pay off this house, since it was kind of a tiny mortgage?
Well, the house was paying by itself.
Yeah.
Because my army pension was coming. Did I receive a check? I'm not sure. But anyway, I know that money was slated only for $83 a month.
Yeah.
So I paid that from 1972 until year 2000. 1972. Oh yeah, no, until 1980. And at that time, the interest rate got up to 22%.
That's crazy.
22% interest rate.
Yeah.
So I went to them. I said, "Can you lower that a little bit?" No, they refused.
Yeah.
They said 100%. But in the meantime,
I
had bought some Canada saving bonds.
Yeah.
And I had about $3,000 left on my mortgage.
Yeah.
And my Canada saving bond was due.
Yeah.
Maybe 3 weeks after that. So I paid 22% for about 3 weeks. And after that, when my Canada saving bonds came due, I went to the state. I said, I'll pay my mortgage. I gave them $3,000.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And that's it.
So in 1980, my house was paid.
Good for you.
Yeah.
I wonder how much it's worth now. Like, it's probably gone up in value, like 500%.
Between $225, $250.
That's not bad. And you paid only $20,000 for it. Like, that's a good.
Yeah.
You did well,
see,
Grandpa.
See that the young captain there, when I left the forces, he said, you stay another 2 years, make 25 years. So I had a 5% penalty, which is about $16 a month.
Yeah.
But I gained a lot because if I had stayed 1 year or 2 years to come here, my house, I would have paid not $20,000, I would have paid $35,000.
Exactly.
And it kept going up.
Exactly.
The reason, 1972, we had the election here. The NDP came over, and they froze all the farmlands.
Oh.
So what we call Fairfield Island here.
Yeah.
The people were building there, so the building stopped. So they had less house. So the price of the house that were already here started going up.
Yeah.
Because there was so anyway, Saint Joseph helped.
Yeah, that is so interesting.
I put everything in the hands of God. I said, I'm leaving 4 children and without a job coming here in a place, a strange place.
It's a big risk, Grandpa.
The little plus I had, there was no problem for my children because I was in Valcartier.
Yeah.
They went to English school.
Yeah.
So when they arrived here, it's just no problem.
Yeah.
Remember with the language.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because when Gil started to go to school in Baysborden, Ontario, there was no French school there.
Oh, really?
So he started grade, not kindergarten, grade 1 in English.
Oh, really? Wow.
And at first, before we moved in the base, we were at a small place called Everett, outside the base.
Everett, yeah.
I remember and then Gilbert was at the school, and then the teacher would say, okay, take such a book. He understood what was going on, what she was saying. So he was looking at the other guy, the book that he would pull out from this desk and that to use,
Yeah.
So that's how he was acting. Another time, he said he went to, he was at school. I guess he misunderstood the teacher. So at noon, he came back home. I said, what are you doing here? Oh, he said, we have a holiday for afternoon. But he had misunderstood. He should have been at school.
Oh, no.
But he was at that school for about a month and a half. And then we moved on the base.
Yeah.
But also there was no French school there.
Yeah.
But the teacher there, she was in about her 40s. She knew how to handle a little kid. So she said, don't worry about it. She said, by Christmas, he'll be okay. And he was okay.
He was.
He passed his grade.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, there. And then playing with the kids outside.
Yeah.
He listened to them, what they were saying and things
And
like
try
that.
to
That's
figure it
how
out.
he learned to speak English. It's the same with Martin. Martin
Wow.
was like her. When we moved to Quebec City,
Yeah.
Martin was, I guess he was too young for kindergarten there, but he had been accepted in Baysborden, so he had to stay home. But the following year, when he got there, so there were little girls there in the class that didn't speak French. So the teacher asked Martin, "What is she saying? Tell her what I'm saying."
Yeah.
Martin, can you imagine a small kid
Being a translator?
translating what she was saying? Anyway,
Oh, gosh.
so that's where all these kind of little things were. Problem of a family. Well, they're not problems. There's something that happened in the family.
Yeah.
You might see if you have kids and when you have kids, there's all kinds of development that unforeseen that you're gonna have.
Mm-hmm. So was that? I guess. Well, I think it's a great thing that you moved from Quebec to BC because
yes, because Colombe said it's heaven here.
It's beautiful here. I love it here.
She really likes here.
And I always think, I'm like, well, if Grandma and Grandpa didn't move here, and then my mom wouldn't have met my dad, then I wouldn't have gotten born,
And Josh, it wouldn't be.
And then I wouldn't have met Josh,
Oh, yeah.
It was meant to be.
You see, the action that you make will influence the future.
Absolutely.
And it influenced the future.
It did.
Without me knowing, I don't know if the other side I'll find out, but without me doing the extension that what it cows, move by one person, what it does to the others. Another thing too, when we moved here, and Mom said she likes it very much. We didn't go anywhere else, and we stayed here for 43 years. We're still here.
Yeah, same house.
And Mom, when Eddie started to go to school in grade 1, she says, "Well, I'd like to work."
Oh, yeah.
So she worked as a homemaker for 12 years.
Yeah.
And until 1992. She started 1980. And then with that, a little bit of money, we could help your mom to go to BCIT.
That's right.
You see. Although I would have been able to pay, but wouldn't have any save any money.
Yeah.
But we kept saving any money just the same. And Mom covered all your mother expense at BCIT for 2 years. Yeah. And then we lost her when she got married. And
He lost her when she got married.
Well, in a way, it's a way to say it.
Yeah.
It's not lost a daughter.
Yeah. And thanks again for listening to today's episode. It was episode 29. And for the show notes, you can check out momoneymohouses.com/29, where I'm going to, put a few more details in there about our conversation and some important links as well. Thanks again for listening. And remember, next Wednesday, is going to be episode 30, and it will be my last episode for, I guess, the season, if you will. I'm going to take a little bit of a break in December and come back in January, where I will be relaunching my website. So it will no longer be Mo Money, Mo House.